friends, and welcome to a slightly different kind of video today. The chaos of summer is at an end and we are slipping into the quiet calm of fall, and I'm taking a few days to myself to just relax, recharge, and reboot for the fall. So I'm heading up to the family cabin to read, relax, do some hand sewing, go for some hiking, and make some very hobbity food. And I thought, you know what, it is so beautiful up there, why don't I take all of you with me? So cuddle up with a cozy blanket, grab some snacks and your favorite hot beverage of choice. I have my obligatory Canadian road trip hydration. Let's hit the road. I will see you at the cabin. Well, I am here, I am settled. It is 11 o'clock at night, which means it is time for bed, but I have one thing to do before I head to bed. I want to do a little bit of baking tomorrow, and the recipe requires you to soak raisins in tea overnight. So, I have made a cup of tea. I'm going to have a little cup of tea while I do some reading in bed. And the rest of the tea is going to go over top of the raisins just to cover them. And then we're going to bake with that in the morning. And here we go. A bit of tea, a bit of light reading, and I will see you in the morning. Good night. It's a beautiful morning, so nice, peaceful and quiet, apart from the bird that keeps squawking. And while I wait for my breakfast and tea to finish heating up, I'm going to mix up what I need for the bun loaf. So I'm making bun loaf, which I first heard about in the Swallows and Amazons book series, and has quite rapidly in the last 5 years or so become one of my favorite adventure-y kind of bready recipes. And it is so easy to make, and I love having it up at the cottage here. It's hearty and it travels well, and it's just so tasty. I can see why it was a staple in pretty much every single book of the series. So let's make some tasty bun loaf for our adventures here. Also, since I started watching Dylan Hollis, I cannot crack eggs without channeling my inner Dylan. So that is what we start with 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of marmalade. We add the raisins and tea that we soaked overnight. A heaping half cup of brown sugar, 2 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of fluff powder, and a teaspoon of salt. And we mix together. And then everything goes into a lined loaf tin and baked for about 1 hour and 10 minutes at 300 degrees. Taking a little break for breakfast, I've got my Red River cereal, which I love, but always kind of feels like I'm eating medieval peasant birdseed, but it is very tasty medieval peasant birdseed. The bun loaf has about 1 hour to go, so I think I will kick back, relax, and do a bit of reading, and then I'm going to go into town just for a little bit to pick up a few little things that I didn't grab before I came, maybe poke around in a couple of the shops, and then come back and I think do some sewing. It rained overnight, which it wasn't supposed to do, so it's a little bit damp outside, so sewing, reading, do some crafting stuff, and just relax and enjoy the nature and the solitude. Well, I am back from town, which was entirely too people-y for the 3rd week of September. I got some yummy treats for lunch and supper today. Got some dumplings and peas. Got a beautiful trout fillet for supper. And then I did indulge myself in some shinies. I picked up a beautiful piece of fluorite. Oh, look how that shines. And a necklace that I was admiring last time I was up and didn't buy, and was like, you know what, it's still in stock, so it was meant to be. And a lovely looking tunic top that was on sale for $20. Gotta love clearance deals. But yes, town was far too people-y. I am so glad that I'm out of the way of all that. And I'm going to stay in my little fortress of solitude for the next foreseeable future. After lunch, it was time to take advantage of the fresh open air and do some resin work on a project I had been putting off for absolutely ever. And work on a future sewing project. Spoilers. And it's dinner time. Fresh lake trout, herbed potatoes, and buttered broccoli. Yum! That was a absolutely fantastic supper, and I was about to rush off and do the dishes so that they're all done, because I find I get tired a lot earlier up here than I do back at home. It's like 7:30 and I'm so tired. I just had to take a minute because it is so still and quiet out here, and sometimes you just need that. You need to just take the moment, enjoy the silence, and just breathe and enjoy it. So that's what I'm doing for a very short little minute. Enjoy the calmness with me. So I had originally planned to spend most of the day traipsing through the woods dressed in my ranger outfit and film some reels for Instagram, but I woke up this morning and it is cold and damp and not exactly optimal traipsing through the woods weather, and I think it might be starting to rain again. One thing you learn when you spend any amount of time up here is that the Weather Network is more what you call guidelines. So I think this is going to be a day for cozy comfort food and indoor crafting. Let's go have some tea and make some cards. 14 degrees and mostly sunny. It is not. All in all, I'd say a productive crafting afternoon. This is the face of somebody who just realized they did a stupid. I had planned to do so much archery while I was up here, and I just went to set things up, and I realized I remembered my limbs. I remembered my bowstring. I remembered all my arrows. I forgot to bring the handle of my bow. That's kind of an important thing. Kind of need that. So, that effectively scuppers any archery up here. I'm feeling so proud of myself right now. After I moped around feeling maudlin for a bit, I decided to go pick some apples. And take my frustration out on some pieces of wood. I recently decided that whittling would be my next random hobby, so I started an attempt at a spoon. I wasn't feeling super hungry when supper time rolled around, so I went hobbity with some bun loaf, cheese, fresh fruit, and some sautéed apples, and hunkered down for another chilly evening. In the morning, I was determined to go on a hike, but I wanted to wait for it to be a bit warmer, so I took some time for a bit of costume research. With the warmth of the noonday sun, it was time to go off on a hike. And this is why I love off-season travel. So calm and peaceful. So I don't know how well you'll be able to hear me over the sound of the waves, but as you can see, gorgeous, absolutely stunning. And I have packed a little adventurer's lunch with me, a la Swallows and Amazons. If you've never read that book, highly recommend it. You know, if you love the old Enid Blyton, Boxcar Children kind of stories, Swallows and Amazons, 10 out of 10. I love them. So I've got my cheese, my bun loaf, and my ginger beer, and tea in a thermos, because you always have to adventure with tea. So let's enjoy this beautiful scenery. It looks like Caribbean waters. It does not feel like Caribbean waters. It is icy cold, but it is stunning. and I took the opportunity to try yet another relatively new thing: painting. I've always wanted to be a good painter and decided that this would be a fantastic place to get inspiration and practice. And I was right. Once I was done painting, I needed to stretch my legs, so I hiked a little more before taking a break for tea. Words cannot even begin to describe how peaceful this was, and how blessed I felt that I was able to experience this place. Even if the rock beach did sound a little bit like Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli walking through the paths of the dead. At long last, I had to say farewell to the beautiful beach and head home for dinner, which I did not film because I was absolutely exhausted. Okay, so first of all, I want to apologize for crappy lighting because it is late. Yes, I made myself dessert at 8:45 at night because, well, in my defense, I was left unsupervised. I just wanted to show you guys this. This is a 18th century recipe from the book The Complete Housewife, and it is so easy and so good. It's called sack cream, tasty name, and it's a very thin custard, almost like a soupy texture, but it tastes awesome, and you basically eat it with toast. And traditionally, you dunk the toast in sack or sherry, and then you dunk the toast into the custard or pour the custard over the toast. And so I have tried dunking the toast into the sherry, and I found just everything tasted like sherry. But dunking the toast into the custard is seriously good stuff. The 18th century folks, they knew how to make their desserts. They knew that booze and whipping cream made a good combination. You've got this, you've got everlasting syllabub, you've got all different combinations, but 18th century people, they knew what they were doing. 8:45 at night, and I'm eating 18th century custard. It's for my mental health. So today is the last full day of my getaway, and there is one final thing that I wanted to do on this trip, and that is have a campfire. Specifically, I want to cook myself a meal on the campfire. A hobbity meal a la Weathertop. So, first step in that, obviously, is to make a campfire. Am I the world's best campfire maker? Not really. Can I make a campfire? Yes, I can. So let's get to it and see how long it takes me to do this. All right. Nearly 20 minutes in, I'd say we have a campfire. If you guys learn one thing from this video, it's that if you need me to build a fire fast for our survival, good luck. The campfire has settled down now. There is still a little bit of a flame, but mostly it is going into a nice hot ember bed, which is exactly what you want for cooking on the campfire. And I've got my ingredients ready. I've got my tomatoes, I've sausages, well, a sausage patty because I don't have the metabolism of a hobbit, and bacon, which will be nice and crispy, some butter for frying, buttered bread to accompany, a bit of parsley to finish, and Malden salt, which in my opinion is the best salt in all the Shire. And no hobbity meal would be complete without mushrooms. So let's get to frying. I've never attempted anything like this before, so hopefully it will be tasty. We'll start with a little pat of butter and cook the bacon first. Now that is nice crispy bacon. Then the sausage, tomatoes, and mushrooms. So we've got our tomatoes, sausages, nice crispy bacon. I'm hungry. Let's give this a try. Oh, that's crispy. I'm not wild about cooked tomatoes, but let's see how this works. Not bad. And the mushrooms. Good call on the mushrooms. Continued proof that hobbits know good food. I don't know if you heard that crunch. That is nice crispy bacon. This is so satisfying, so rewarding. If you ever get the chance to cook a whole meal for yourself outside on a fire, do it. I highly recommend it. Yes, it takes twice as long as cooking on a stove. Yes, you get smoke in your eyes, but there's something about seeing the food come together in the pan on the fire, knowing that you made the heat from your own hands, that made the food on the fire that you made. Oh, that is satisfying. I need to do this more often. 10 out of 10, make the weathertop meal on a campfire. You will not regret it. I'm gonna go finish this now. Probably while listening to the Skyrim soundtrack because we're out in the woods. What better thing to do? And if the Nazgul hadn't shown up, I wager that Merry and Pippin would have roasted marshmallows on weathertop too. And I spent a few hours in the afternoon finally traipsing through the forest in my cloak, making future Instagram content before going into town for some supper. Well, here we are on the very last morning of the trip. I'm just about packed up and ready to head down the road, back to the world of sewing machines and Wi-Fi and people. This was a very nice little trip, very restful and rejuvenating. I didn't quite get done everything I wanted to do, but I did accomplish a number of things. I made progress on some future sewing projects, I made progress in a number of books I'm reading, and I spent a lot of time just breathing in the nature because that was the primary goal of this trip, to just rest and relax and rejuvenate for the rest of the year to come. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be back with my regularly scheduled sewing content very shortly. In the meantime, if you have a chance to go out and enjoy some nature, I highly encourage you to take in the fall colors and cool autumn breezes and strolls by the waterside if you possibly can. It is so good for your mental health. I really don't know how to end this video, so I will say I will see you anon in future sewing videos. The upshot, of course, of accidentally repeatedly failing to make a perfect marshmallow is that I get to eat more marshmallows. I see that as an absolute win.